Imagine you're a Russian tank crew rolling through a tree line. The engine's hot, the radio is buzzing, and the sky looks ordinary. Then two little space frisbees appear, spinning like neon coins in slow motion. They are not drones. They are the autonomous submunitions from a single Swedish-French bonus shell, and they are about to do a top attack magic trick on 50 tons of steel. One shot, two hunters, zero mercy. If Excalibur is a sniper rifle, bonus is the ambush you never saw coming. And for Russian armor in 2025, ambush season never ended. Welcome to the new artillery meta. The war's third calendar year turned battlefields into sensor-soaked shooting galleries where drones hover, radars listen, and howitzers reach out to ruin your day from 30 kilometers away. And in that ecosystem, Sweden's bonus shell isn't just relevant, it's the apex predator that eats tanks for breakfast and saves dessert for the support vehicles behind them. Think IKEA, but the flat pack comes preloaded with two exquisitely engineered tank killers and requires no assembly. To understand why Bonus keeps starring in Ukraine's kill cams, rewind to basics. Bonus is a 155mm artillery round co-developed by BAE Systems Bofors and France's Nexter. It carries two autonomous submunitions with multispectral infrared sensors and laser radar. Fired from NATO-standard 39 or 52 caliber guns like Caesar, Archer, Krab, PZH-2000, and M109 variants, the projectile lofts high, then disgorges the pair. Each submunition glides on pop-out wings, spins to scan below, recognizes targets based on their thermal and geometric signatures, and then fires an explosively formed penetrator straight down through the roof armor, the soft underbelly of every tank's hard shell. No GPS, no data link, no mercy. If the tank hides beneath camouflage netting or a flimsy roof cage, the EFP still arrives like an angry meteor. That meteor has been visible on dozens of Ukrainian videos since 2023, and its tempo has only grown. Bonus thrives because the Ukrainian kill chain matured. Quadcopters or fixed-wing ISR drones find armor, counter-battery radars map firing positions, software like GIS ARTA and modern fire direction centers assign a shooter, and a 155mm tube, Caesar yesterday, Archer today, sends a round whose brains don't need an internet connection to finish the job. The result? Fewer shells shot, more tanks destroyed, and crews who now treat open terrain like a haunted house. The data behind the drama matters. By early 2025, independent defense institutes were clear on two things. Russia has lost tanks at staggering rates, and yet it's kept replenishing the front by refurbishing Soviet stock and ramping up T-90M production. Ukraine and its partners responded by scaling precision artillery and smart submunitions, keeping pressure on Russian armor even as the front line morphed into a drone-dominated chessboard. In simple terms, mass meets math, and math usually wins. So what exactly changed in 2025? First, deliveries and promises. Sweden didn't just send 8 Archers and call it a day. Stockholm authorized procurement of 18 additional Archer systems specifically to donate to Ukraine, then followed up with spare gun barrels and sustainment lines to keep those guns firing hard. France doubled down on 155mm munitions, accelerated Caesar pipelines, and kept Bonus in the mix. Germany's new RCH-155 self-propelled guns started appearing on Ukrainian acceptance photos. Denmark and Norway co-funded fresh munitions alongside Sweden. And behind all of that, European industry pushed to expand shell output, while Ukraine stood up local 155mm production with Western partners. The trend line is obvious. More tubes, smarter ammo, faster kill chains. Second, tactics. After losing armor in mass assaults during 2022 to 2024, Russian units in mid-2025 adjusted. Mechanized pushes grew rarer. Where tanks still rolled, they did so in short dashes, at night, or under heavy drone overwatch, with motorbike swarms acting as the probing fingertips of assault groups. Glide bombs from Su-34s and Su-35s flattened strongpoints from 40 to 60 kilometers away, while the armor hung back like stagehands. But none of that eliminates the need for armored columns to move, resupply, or counterattack. And every time armor clusters, a bonus shell's 2 coins are waiting to flip. Third, countermeasures. Russia went all in on roof cages, turtle kits, and thermal blankets like Nikidka. These help against FPV drones and sometimes defeat slow-fusing top-attack warheads. But they are not a force field. An EFP cuts through like a jet of molten spite. The more serious adaptation is active protection. The Arena M system has appeared on select T-72B3 and T-90M tanks in trials. In theory, a hard-kill APS can intercept top-attack missiles, and if scaled, it could complicate Ukraine's Javelin, NLAW, and Spike tactics. But artillery submunitions like Bonus are small, fast, numerous, and arrive from directly above with minimal signature. APS radars must see them at just the right moment. Smoke and clutter can hinder both sides. For now, the balance still favors the shell. On the Ukrainian side, the gunners evolved too. Units now pair sensor-fused artillery with drones in hammer and anvil sequences. FPVs corral armor into cover, then a bonus round harvests anything foolish enough to shelter under trees or power line corridors. Caesar crews report firing fewer smart rounds per kill as target folders improve. Archers shoot and scoot. Emptying a clip of smart shells in seconds turns every firing mission into a magic trick. Gun up, gun smoke, gone. And when a single shell can remove 2 tanks from the battlefield, logistics love it. 1 truck, 2 kills, far fewer resupply headaches. Even the quartermasters crack a smile. Let's talk effectiveness with real, unromantic context. Sensor-fused munitions do not wipe out armored armies by themselves. They punish mistakes and deny terrain. They excel when the enemy uses roads, tree lines, or choke points. Any place geometry compresses movement. That's why Ukraine's gunners love firing bonus at withdrawal routes and resupply nodes. It's also why Russian convoy discipline has changed, with greater spacing, more decoys, and fewer daylight dashes. The cat learned, the mouse installed tripwires. The game continues. Of course, the larger war didn't stop to admire the engineering. Drones now define up to 9 out of 10 strikes in some sectors. Artillery remains the backbone of both armies, and attrition is relentless. In that environment, precision shells that don't rely on GPS and thus ignore Russian electronic warfare are gold. The Ukrainian feedback loop is brutally simple. If a Russian tank can be seen, it can be recognized. If recognized, it can be tasked. And if tasked, it can be hit, often by something that falls from the sky and does not miss. Call it Swedish gravity with attitude. We begin on today's front line. Donbass remains the furnace, with Russian forces grinding toward transportation hubs using a pattern of partial envelopment followed by street-by-street assaults. In Zaporizhzhia, mechanized thrusts are sporadic. The armor that does appear often hides from Ukraine's drone artillery kill chain. North of Kharkiv and around Sumy, probing raids and sabotage compete with theater-wide drone swarms. Everywhere, both sides are bleeding ammunition. The West's job is clear: keep Ukraine shooting and keep its shots smarter than Russia's. That's where Sweden and France come back into frame. Sweden's March 2025 decision to procure 18 Archers for donation was more than symbolism. It guaranteed compatibility with bonus at scale, added modern fire control and auto-loading to Ukraine's 155mm roster, and, critically, came with spares. Stockholm's July follow-on, new gun barrels for donated Archers, might sound unglamorous, but a barrel is a howitzer's soul. Replace it on time, and your range and accuracy stay lethal. Neglect it, and even smart shells wobble. Add the August Nordic-funded $500 million munitions package, and you see a supply arc bending towards sustained, precise fire. Paris, meanwhile, isn't just shipping Caesars, it's underpinning the smart munition ecosystem. The French Defense Ministry has pushed 155mm production and pledged additional aid in 2025 while keeping Ukraine's training pipeline full. Caesar remains one of the best 52 caliber launchers for bonus. Fast into position, fast out, and accurate enough to drop those space frisbees exactly where the drone operator wants them. Pair a French gun with a Swedish-French shell and a Ukrainian pilot flying the eye in the sky, and you get cross-border teamwork that would make a NATO staff college blush. How is Russia adapting specifically to bonus and its cousin, Germany's Smart 155? 3 ways. First, multispectral smoke. Russian tanks build thick aerosol curtains that degrade the thermal contrast bonus uses for recognition. It works, sometimes, but smoke is fickle, wind is rude, and a smart submunitions scanning logic can wait out a gust. Second, camouflage and thermal masking. Blankets and paint schemes reduce heat signatures and break outlines, confusing recognition algorithms. They help against casual observation. Less so when a submunition is circling directly above, comparing you to a library of tank shapes like a very judgmental AI. Third, active protection. Arena M and related concepts are appearing in trials and limited fielding. Hard kill bursts can catch some top attack missiles. Can they consistently swat tiny, fast, falling EFP carriers? Maybe in a sterile demo. In battle's chaos, dust, trees, wires, gunfire, the calculus gets ugly. That's not chest thumping, it's sober physics. And Ukraine isn't standing still. The artillery kill web is getting tighter. Drone Recon now feeds target folders enriched with AI-assisted pattern analysis. Fire direction centers fuse counter-battery radar data with persistent drone video, so bonus crews aren't hunting, they're executing. Units report better timing between FPV harassment and artillery strikes, trapping Russian armor in micro-kill zones. On good days, a platoon of tanks can be reduced to smoking torsos in under 2 minutes. On bad days, the shells still land, the crews still flinch. Either way, Russian battalion commanders plan fewer daylight drives. Let's widen the lens to other killers and how they've evolved in 2025. Javelin and NLAW remain the ambush kings for infantry, but their employment is now more selective, often to finish immobilized tanks targeted first by drones or artillery. Russian crews aren't dumb. They stack ERA bricks on roof cages, add side skirts, and hide under concrete awnings. That matters against slow or predictable top attack profiles. Against an EFP falling like the hammer of Thor? Less so. Mines. They are everywhere, the main sculptors of the battlefield. Dragon's teeth, scatterable mines, and manual belts create funnels that push armor into the exact corridors bonus loves to harvest. And drones, the star of 2025, aren't a replacement for smart shells. They're the pointer dogs that drive the prey into the shotgun. Numbers, because the internet remembers. Total Russian tank losses measured 2 responsible ways: visual confirmations and institutional estimates, both point one direction: depletion. Visual counts show thousands of destroyed, damaged, captured, or abandoned tanks, with T-72 variants and T-80s bearing the brunt and T-90Ms dying loudly on video. Independent institutes estimate that in 2024 alone, Russia hemorrhaged a 4-figure number of main battle tanks, then lost another wave into mid-2025. Can Russia build more? Yes. Uralvagonzavod has surged T-90 million output from double digits to the low hundreds per year. Can it rebuild fast enough to erase the kill cam arithmetic? Not while Ukrainian gunners still have bonus, shells, and drones to spot. All of this lives inside Russia's macro problem, a war economy that can fund tanks, but at the cost of everything else. Defense outlays are chewing a post-Soviet-era share of GDP, tax hikes are creeping, and labor shortages bite. Moscow can keep the military machine humming through 2025 and into 2026 with refurbished armor and new builds, but the strategic bill is rising. Meanwhile, Ukraine's partners are finally aligning industry to the war's tempo. Nordic coalitions for munitions, German lines pumping out 155mm, and joint production in-country to cut logistics tails. The question for 2026 isn't whether smart shells work. It's whether there will be enough of them every week for as long as it takes. Ukrainian voices from the line confirm what the footage shows. Artillerymen praise sensor-fused rounds because they don't care about GPS jamming or spoofing. They love that a single shell can defeat a pair of vehicles sheltering under trees or power lines. They note that when bonus falls, crews inside don't always know what hit them, only that the roof blew in and the tank stopped being a tank. Their frustrations are predictable: barrel wear, resupply tempo, and the never-ending dance with drones that see everything, including the firing unit. That's why Archer matters. It fires, it scoots, it lives to fire again. So what do we expect next? Expect Russia to field more APS on high-value tanks, T-90Ms in breakthrough units, while accepting that the majority of its fleet will ride with cages and hope. Expect more multispectral smoke drills and on-call glide bomb cover for maneuver pushes. Expect Ukraine to get more out of each smart shell with better targeteering, tighter drone artillery timing, and more tubes that can throw bonus deep from safe hide sites. Expect European industry to slowly, finally catch up to the shell-per-day math that this war demands. Expect the footage to keep coming: a tree line, a tank, a spiral in the sky, and 2 quick flashes. Let's close with clarity. Bonus doesn't slaughter tanks because it's cinematic. It does it because warfare is about geometry and timing. It punishes columns in the wrong place at the wrong moment. It denies bridges and bottlenecks. It makes commanders ask whether a dash across that field is worth losing a company. And on a battlefield where every surviving hull can be turned into an armored pillbox, forcing tanks to hide is a victory of its own. But when they don't hide, when they have to move, resupply, reinforce, that's when Sweden's smartest shell reaches out, flips 2 coins, and says heads, you lose, tails, your wingman does. Sweden built bonus with France to solve a hard problem: how to kill heavy armor without risking your own. Ukraine gave it the perfect laboratory: drones everywhere, artillery in abundance, and an enemy who has to bring steel to the fight whether it wants to or not. In 2025, that combination has carved an unmistakable curve into the war's graphs. Fewer Russian tanks operational, more destroyed in clusters, and more crews abandoning vehicles under top attack pressure. As new archers enter Ukrainian service and the Nordic munitions pipeline thickens, expect that curve to steepen. War doesn't reward clever rhetoric, it rewards results. Bonus delivers those results in brutal, almost indifferent fashion. 2 hunters descend, select, and strike. Engines stop, hatches blow, and somewhere a Ukrainian gun crew is already limbering up for the next shot. The future isn't just more drones, it's drones plus smart shells, networked like a hunting pack. And for Russian tanks on Ukrainian soil, that pack is getting faster, meaner, and a lot harder to outrun. One last thought, because strategy is a lifestyle. If Russia manages to scale APS across its fleet and pair it with disciplined smoke drills and better convoy discipline, the calculus could shift. Not to invulnerability, physics is stubborn, but to higher expenditure for the same kills. That's why 2026 will turn on production and sustainment as much as ingenuity. Precision munitions like bonus must flow at wartime cadence. Guns must stay healthy. Drones must keep watch. If those 3 pillars hold, Sweden's space frisbees will keep writing obituaries for Russian armor faster than Ural Vagonzavod can type birth certificates. And yes, that is dark. War is. Sometimes the only joke you can afford is this: bonus is the rare munition that literally makes change. 2 coins from 1 shot and none for the tank crew's future plans. Until then, practice safe logistics, hydrate, and keep the gun line tight. The artillery gods are Swedish today, and they accept offerings in 155 millimeters.